What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Darth Maul versus Darth Vader. Now, I said I would have it done yesterday. I did not. Had some editing issues, particularly sound issues, but that doesn't matter. You don't care about that. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, what I'm going to do is go through and break down each character's strengths, weaknesses, the style of lightsaber dueling that they have. And then once I go over both of those, then I'll discuss how I think the fight would end up. And I don't think it would end up exactly how it ended in the comic, which is kind of what led us to doing this. But I think it's actually kind of an interesting build-up with Darth Maul, in my mind, is like the knockout puncher. And then Darth Vader is actually the counter puncher. Most people might consider him the knockout. But when he becomes Darth Vader and he's in that suit, I think you'll see as I kind of break it down and we discuss it further that he's actually much more technical. And I think actually the more I kind of studied on this, they did a lot in Clone Wars with Count Dooku, and he took a lot of Count Dooku's kind of technical prowess and skills and converted it over to work for him being in the suit, because the suit's less agile, as he was more of an Ataru specialist, which is the jumping and flipping around, much like you saw Yoda in Attack of the Clones. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and break down Darth Maul. Darth Maul is a Dathomirian born to Mother Talzin, who was then kidnapped as a child by Darth Sidious, and was trained close to 30 years as an apprentice to become a Sith Lord before the Clone Wars. He stepped into the spotlight in 32 BBY on Naboo, fighting Qui-Gon and killing him, and then his apprentice Obi-Wan, who cut him in half, where his brother found him, and with the help of Mother Talzin and some Dathomirian magic, helped to give him cybernetic legs to get him back to seeking revenge on both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Sidious. He used a Form 7 Juyo. The unpredictable and aggressive attacking style fit Darth Maul's personality perfectly. Juyo feeds off of emotion, which is perfect for a Sith, being that they're fueled by their anger. Juyo, being the final lightsaber form, combines all prior lightsaber forms together into a style fitted perfectly for the duelist's needs. Most notably Form 4 Ataru for his acrobatics, as well as mixing in things such as kicks to his fighting. But his use of a saber staff limits his ability to move freely, so he must commit fully to each movement, as the length of the blades and the hilt do not allow for mistakes. But this does give him more leverage and power to his already strong base. In Phantom Menace against two opponents, he was maneuvering them strategically using his footwork and his strikes almost like a matador with a bull, until he was able to get them separated and into a location that would limit their Ataru movement and give him the advantage, thus killing Qui-Gon quickly. With his skills and training alone, it almost makes him seem unbeatable. His strong attacking style mixed with his strategic ability makes him a great threat to absolutely any opponent. But seeing his past duels, he is clearly not. He tends to get overconfident in his abilities and over-emotional with his desire to kill Jedi. This overconfidence mixed with the way Juyo feeds off of emotion is what leads to his defeats. Even later on in life, throughout the Clone Wars, his desire for revenge led him to be less controlled with his emotions, a requirement for Juyo. Thus, he became less strategic with how he dealt with other lightsaber duelists. His saber staff with its long hilt also became a weakness for him, as a skilled duelist would be able to strike the hilt, breaking it in half. But he did have skills in Jar-Kai, a dual saber style of fighting, which meant this was not as devastating for him as other saber staff specialists. Another weakness he has shown is against telekinetic powers. Granted, this was largely against Darth Sidious, who is the most powerful, particularly with telekinetic powers, but I do believe an opponent with these types of skills would be able to give Darth Maul considerable trouble. He does have considerable experience though fighting Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Pre Vizsla, the Inquisitors, and Darth Sidious. Darth Vader, having fallen to the dark side and having his limbs cut off by Obi-Wan Kenobi, left him with less force potential and stuck him in a cybernetic suit to be able to survive. Fortunately, Anakin had changed from a Ataru and Xi'an specialist to a Jim-So specialist before losing his limbs, as Ataru and Xi'an require much more agility and movement, while Jim-So required a more basic movement, continually plodding forward with strong, powerful strikes that fit his new suit perfectly. He also incorporated Form 2 Makashi into his lightsaber repertoire, which did not require as much movement, and along with Jim So was a parry and counter style, with more precise as opposed to powerful strike, most likely added after his encounters with Count Dooku. The combination of these two styles, along with his experience, make him, in my opinion, the most talented lightsaber duelist of all time. His suit, although less movable, did allow him to take some strikes without losing limbs like he did against Count Dooku. He did have considerable talent with Tuta Menace, being able to stop blaster bolts with his own hand. His suit is very weak to Force Lightning, as the suit itself will begin to fry with the Force Lightning and could end up killing him, as it did at the end of Return of the Jedi. But he does have strong telekinetic powers himself and is able to mix them smoothly with his lightsaber dueling, without missing a beat, which makes him incredibly dangerous for any one-on-one duel. The suit also gave him an advantage when fighting. The cybernetics and the breathing mask gave him an almost endless conditioning. He has vast experience fighting Asajj Ventress, Barriss Offee, Savage Opress, Ahsoka Tano, Count Dooku, Ezra, Kanan, Ahsoka Tano again, Obi-Wan again, and Luke Skywalker. So, both of them are really just incredible, very impressive, very talented. I mean, if they were able to ever put this onto film, it would be an unbelievable battle. But please comment down below and tell me who you think would win and how you think they would win, if you have an idea, basing it off of kind of my breakdown of their technical abilities and how they might go against each other. How, each kind of technique goes against each other. The people with different styles do better against certain styles than they would against other styles. And I think this style matchup's very interesting. Now, in my mind, here's me breaking down how I think it would go. First off, I think Maul has a wider array of skills. He is a Juyo specialist, and so he has the ability to use a lot of different techniques. Now, Anakin was able to do a lot of different techniques, but Vader is more limited. He can't do the Ataru. He's not going to be as agile as Darth Maul. And I think Maul has that wider array, as I said, with Juyo, but Vader has a better mastery of the skills. His ability in Jimso, as well as in Makashi, is about as high level as it goes. Jimso, I believe that either him or Luke, probably him, is the highest expert that we've ever seen. And I think his Makashi is only second to Count Dooku, but I still believe it is an extremely high level. Now, the perfect mixture of these, as I mentioned, is so beautiful because both of them are counter and parry, but both of them do two different things. One of which is his ability with the Jimso to be powerful and strike down. The other one with the Makashi is more of kind of a finesse move. Now, I think the Makashi will be the best thing for him against Darth Maul. Reason being is because Maul is powerful. And I think that Maul might have the potential to overpower Vader in this. Now, the reason why I say that is because if you look back at Clone Wars, even Anakin kind of struggled against the strength of Savage Opress for a small period of time. And then the only time that Vader ever lost was, well, not the only time, but the time that he lost to Luke, he was overpowered. Now, with the Vader part with Luke, though, he was very conflicted, and he was, kind of leaning towards the light side, and I don't think that would be the case with Maul. So I don't take that as full, like, oh, he was overpowered by Luke, so he's going to get overpowered. But Maul specifically focuses on strength, and as I mentioned with his style, is able to use leverage and kind of force to attack forward. Now, I believe with this, that's where Vader's countering and kind of parrying style will be very beneficial to him. I think he would be able to take Maul's attacks and then kind of push them away and allow him to get himself off balance. And ultimately, what I think would happen with the saber staff is that he would end up cutting the hilt. His Makashi, the precision of his kind of counter and parry back would cause him to cut Darth Maul's hilt. So when that happens, though, as I said, Darth Maul has very good ability with Jar Kott. He held his own for a period of time against Emperor Palpatine, but Darth Vader is very, he's dealt with a lot of Well, as Anakin dealt with a lot of dual saber fighting, he fought Asajj Ventress on many occasions, and although she did do very well against him, I do believe because he has some skills of his own, he fought a little bit against Dooku and got wiped away with it, but he also showed later that he still had the skills with it when he fought against Barriss Offee. And I believe that even though Maul's very talented in this, it becomes less about the leverage and less about the power. And this is where Vader will be able to use his Makashi again, but in this time to be able to swipe away and get one of the sabers to be tossed from Darth Maul's hands, using some technique of getting inside, just like he did with Luke in Empire Strikes Back, and tossing it away. Now, I think this section, the dual saber versus Vader, would be one of the longest sections of their fight. I think Vader would be fairly quickly after a few kind of moves by Maul that maybe he's a little more overpowering, kind of being brute force against him, that Vader's going to resort to that Makashi and swipe and just take the hilt out. But I believe it's going to last a lot longer with Maul and him. But both of them have incredible conditioning. We saw with Darth Maul the very long fight in Phantom Menace, and then, you know, Vader in the fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith. And now, as I said, he has a suit with a breathing mask, so he's able to last for a very long time. But once he's able to swipe it away and they're both down to one saber, this is where things start to change, because Vader's vastly superior duelist. And when Maul's kind of lost the advantages he has with his sabers, either dual or the saber staff, then as soon as that happens, he's going to have to resort to more of his Ataru and his gymnastics and hopping around, possibly trying some kicks and stuff, but I don't think that's going to work on Vader. But why this isn't going to work completely for Darth Maul is because Vader has the ability with his telekinetic powers, with his fighting, to be able to kind of take over the fight, essentially. As Maul tries to move around and has to try to focus to get away from the skill and the advantage that Vader has with the lightsaber, that focus on that is going to allow Vader to then equally use his ability with the Force to be able to control or move Maul and get him in a position to where Vader can then finish him. Vader learned from Emperor Palpatine, as did Maul, but Maul never had the, kind of telekinetic force abilities that we see with Emperor Palpatine and that we've seen with Darth Vader. And much how it kind of ended with Darth Maul and Emperor Palpatine, I see the same scenario happening with Darth Vader. But I think it would be a very interesting fight. And I think it would last a pretty good while. It would be fairly evenly matched, but I think as it kind of slowly pours itself on, Vader will slowly take apart each one of his abilities until Vader has the clear, for sure advantage. And I also think, emotionally speaking, that Maul can start to break down mentally much faster, and I don't think Vader would break down at all. And I think that plays along with it as well, as Vader will be able to kind of hold him off and use his precision to make sure he doesn't make mistakes and then take advantage of each mistake that Darth Maul makes. But anyways, that's how I see it going down. I look forward to hearing how all of you think that it will go down, or who you think would win in this battle. Do some of you believe that Darth Maul would win? I look forward to hearing your thoughts on why that might be the case. And I hope you enjoyed this. I want to do this more often with more characters. I kind of got Luke versus Obi-Wan in mind for the next one. That's a very interesting one in my mind, how that battle would go down. But I look forward to hearing your thoughts. If you want to kind of give me any ideas of some people that you would like to hear, please comment them down below. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. And never forget, you nerf herders, I love you.